Imagine flipping through old photo albums or scrolling through your digital gallery and noticing something odd. The same person repeatedly appearing in the background of different photos taken in various places and times. Now imagine that this hasn't only happened to you but to thousands of people around the world. This was the surreal discovery made by Miguel, a professional photographer. While reviewing photos taken by strangers in different countries and settings, he began to notice something impossible to ignore. A constant figure, always in the background, appearing in pictures taken by people who never knew each other. Who was this person? And how could they be in so many places at once? But before we dive deeper into this unbelievable story, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. Every week, we bring you stories that will challenge your mind and make you question reality. And if you've experienced something strange or know someone who has had an inexplicable encounter, share it with us in the comments. We'd love to hear your story. Miguel had always been fascinated by photography. Since childhood, he captured moments, initially as a hobby, and later it became his profession. He traveled the world documenting faces, landscapes, and cultures. Over the years, his passion led him to participate in several photography exhibitions. His work also connected him to a vast network of amateur and professional photographers from all over the world. They often exchanged experiences, tips, and, of course, photos. That's how Miguel began to notice something bizarre, a figure always in the background, appearing in images that seemed completely unrelated to each other. At first, Miguel thought it was just a coincidence. Maybe it was someone who had a habit of traveling a lot, or perhaps a photography enthusiast who appeared casually at events. But as more photos came in, the frequency with which this person showed up in the background became impossible to ignore. It didn't matter if the photo had been taken in a busy square in London or on the quiet streets of a small town in Japan. There was the same figure, always distant but present. Intrigued, Miguel began to gather these images. He contacted the photographers and asked if they knew the person in the background. Everyone denied it. No one knew who the person was, and even stranger, no one remembered seeing them while taking the photos. It was as if the figure had simply appeared in the images, without ever physically being there. The more he investigated, the more photos he found with this same eerie presence. The first clue that something was very wrong came when Miguel zoomed in on one of the photos to try to identify the person's face. The image was clear, but the face appeared blurred, as if something was interfering with the photo. In another picture, the figure was partially obscured by a shadow that didn't align with the natural light. This only deepened the mystery. Who was this person? And how were they able to appear in so many places around the world, in photos taken by strangers? As time went on, Miguel became obsessed. He spent sleepless nights analyzing the photos, trying to find a clue, something that could explain this person's presence. He compared dates, times, and locations, and everything pointed to the impossible. In many of the photos, the person seemed to be in different parts of the world on the same day. It was as if they could be everywhere at once. Something completely unexplainable. Doubt began to consume Miguel. He couldn't stop thinking about all the questions that were emerging. Could it be possible that this person had some kind of supernatural power? Or were they somehow manipulating the photos? Was this just a bizarre coincidence, or was something bigger at play that no one was noticing? In the midst of so many questions, Miguel began to wonder if he was becoming paranoid. Maybe it was just a series of bizarre coincidences. But then something even stranger happened. One day, while reviewing some old photos from a trip he took to Spain years ago, Miguel saw something that made his blood run cold. There, in the background of one of the photos he had taken, was the same person. The same face, the same posture, the same blank expression, as if they were simply watching from a distance. Miguel had never noticed this figure before. He knew he was there when he took the photo, but he had never paid attention to the background. How was it possible that he, too, had captured this mysterious figure? The discovery shook Miguel deeply. Until that moment, he had felt like an outside observer, someone trying to unravel a mystery affecting other people. Now, he was part of this puzzle too. And the question that haunted him most was, why him? In the days that followed, Miguel became obsessed with finding a logical explanation. He began searching through more old photos, both his own and from other photographers, and in many of them, there was the same figure. A stranger who seemed to hide in plain sight. No one seemed to notice their presence while taking the pictures, but they were always there, appearing like a silent ghost, watching but never interacting. Miguel decided to share his discovery with some colleagues in the profession, but no one could offer a plausible explanation. Some thought he was just seeing things, while others suggested it might be an elaborate prank. But Miguel knew there was more to it. He could feel it. At the height of his search for answers, Miguel decided to travel to the locations where the photos had been taken, hoping to find some clue. He visited parks, squares, and monuments where the figure had been captured, but in every place, he was met only with silence. There were no signs of the person, no traces of how they had appeared in the photos. But Miguel knew they were there, somehow, always watching. To this day, the mystery remains unsolved. The figure continues to appear in photos taken by people around the world, and no one knows who they are or why they appear. Miguel, for his part, lives with the eerie feeling that he's being watched, as if that person isn't just a coincidence but a constant presence in his life. And what would you do if you discovered that the same person appears in all your old photos? Leave your theory in the comments and don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Maybe someone out there has the answer to the mystery that Miguel was never able to solve.